Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Game of Thrones episode 5 video. Some really cool book moments done in slightly different ways. So I'll explain what the differences are as we work through WTF moments. This week I'm giving away signed copies of Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. So all you have to do to end the giveaway is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. I'll announce the winner in my Q&A tomorrow. So careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. I'm going to do top 7 moments just to give me a little extra room, just like last week. So here we go. Number 7, the death of Barristan Selmy. Barristan the Bold, this is a real bummer. So supposedly the actor was doing interviews last week talking about being dead, so there were some minor spoilers, especially with the promo they released. Everyone knew going into this season that they'd be killing a character that's still alive in the books, so this is one of the big points of divergence for the show. Barristan Selmy is going to be a POV chapter in Wins a Winner, so if you're a huge Barristan Selmy fan, just hold your breath till the book is released and you'll be fine. Isn't it interesting how Hizdar just like slowly walks into the background as Daenerys is ruminating on his death? He prostrated himself so much in this episode that there has got to be something going on with this character. A lot of people think that this woman might be the Harpy, because in the books the biggest theory is that the Green Grace is the Harpy, but the Green Grace isn't on the TV show. They don't have that character, so they're doing something different. Hizdar could still turn out to be the Harpy, or the person controlling the Harpies, or it could be a non-issue on the show. There is now a gaping hole in Daenerys' circle of advisors, and it actually causes some problems during the episode because Daenerys needs a lot of help. Daenerys needing advisors also kind of works well with Maester Aemon feeling so sorry for her. That was another big book-related moment in the episode. In the books, Maester Aemon has a speech just like this when he's talking to Samwell about Daenerys being alone, but he feels like he is too old to go help her. There was a subtle shout out to the Citadel in Old Town, so we could be seeing that on the show. Just in case, I'm going to wait to talk about that. As expected, Samwell is like slowly learning more about the White Walkers, and Stannis is really interested in that, which I think is really cool. I love that he gave him that shout out. I hear you killed a White Walker. He also gave his dad a big shout out. It just shows you that it's that much easier to get Stannis' respect than it is to get a hug from him. On to number 6, Daenerys rounds up all the leaders in the noble houses of Meereen. This is one of the first moments in the episode where they honor a moment from the books by doing something slightly different. Quentin Martell has a minor storyline in the books, but the show isn't doing him. I think this moment here with this person getting roasted by one of Daenerys' dragons is homage to his storyline in the books. There were a number of other moments in the episode that did things like that, so that's what I think this is. Think of this as like a Quentin Martell scene. On to number 5. Jon Snow wants to bring the wildlings from Hardhome down to the wall. Maester Aemon gives him a little bit of a bump. Kill the boy so that the man can live. This is part of the larger arc of Jon Snow learning to be a leader. The same thing is happening with Daenerys and Meereen. You know, she's learning to be a queen. Maester Aemon tells him the job is gonna suck. You could also say the same for Daenerys being queen of all those people. It is totally gonna suck for her. The title, Kill the Boy, was one of the best things about the episode. You could apply it in metaphorical ways to what's going on with Jon Snow. He needs to kill the boy inside him, and you could apply it in a literal context. Ramsay Bolton wants to kill the boy inside Fat Walda. Then you have Ollie here, who absolutely hates the fact that Jon Snow is doing this with the wildlings at Hardhome. There's no way Jon is going to kill Ollie, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to die somehow. Kill the boy. And to be clear, Ollie is actually mistaken. The Thens are the ones that killed his family. They live way up here, north of where the free folk live. Genealogically, they're a completely separate group. Their people are actually more genetically pure descendants of the First Men. They didn't interbreed as much with people from other places in the world. On to number 4, Sansa and Theon's reunion. So now we kind of see where the Miranda plot is going. She is up Grayscale Creek without a paddle. So what can she do but create chaos? The place where she met Sansa, the broken tower, that's actually the place where Bran got pushed out the window by Jaime because twincest. There were so many meta moments in this scene too. It's like you're thinking back about that season 1 moment, then you're thinking about what the servant woman said to Sansa, you know, light a candle at the top if you need help. Which ties to the Brienne storyline where she's hiding out in Wintertown near Winterfell trying to help Sansa. It's really hard to tell where Reek's storyline is going right now. I think he's genuinely afraid for her. Her emotions are much more complex, like just waves of anger just wash over her the minute she recognizes him. What I'm really hoping to see is say like Theon kill Ramsay to save Sansa, and then Sansa does something to kill Reek. It would be really fun too to see Sansa push Miranda out the window that Bran got pushed out of. The minute they both looked up at that window, I just thought somebody has to get pushed out of that this season. So Miranda, mission accomplished. There is now chaos. Reek is probably going to try and do something to atone for what he did, Sansa, who is acquitting herself quite nicely amongst all her enemies, is probably just gonna see what she can do to survive. And then you have Brienne, who's going to try and help out too. So you have like all these things at Winterfell working together. And now there's actually some added chaos because Fat Walda's pregnant with a boy. On to number 3, Ramsay versus his unborn brother. So many funny moments between Ramsay and his father when they had that scene. I'm your heir until someone better comes along. Suddenly the title, Kill the Boy, takes on a more literal context. I definitely think that Ramsay is going to try and do something to Fat Walda. I think Roos's speech about Ramsay's mother explains why the show wants you to think of him as a villain. That is, if you didn't think the Red Wedding made him a villain. It's just, you know, characters kill other characters. It doesn't necessarily mean that Game of Thrones as a show has a true hero and a true villain. But when a character like this fondly remembers raping a peasant woman, then almost killing her when she brought their baby to his gate, there can be no doubt that this character has to die in a really terrible way. The North remembers. Maybe someone will catch him on the shitter. Wouldn't it be funny if Ramsay pulled a Tyrion and killed Fat Walda and his father? He's the heir right now, so he'd be good to go if they were both dead. On to number 2, Daenerys reopens the fighting pits and tells Hizdahr that she is going to marry him. This is another small departure from the books. So Daenerys does reopen the fighting pits, and she does get betrothed to Hizdahr, but it's more of a choice put to her in the books. The show is just giving her a little more agency. Missandei says that she always relies on her advisors. In the books, she does have like a lot more people advising her. I like the way the show is doing this. It's showing that Daenerys is choosing to enter this eyes open. In the book, she knows she has to marry Hizdahr, but she's much more reluctant about it. On the show, it looks like she's going to dominate him. And finally, my number 1 WTF moment, Tyrion and Ser Jorah do the young Griff storyline in Old Valyria. There's a whole lot of meta things going on with this Tyrion-Jorah scene at the end. First, they go into the ruins of Old Valyria, which isn't something that the books does. So that's a change, but it's a really fun change. It's like showing us the lands of Always Winter last season. That's the way I thought about that scene. Showing us a place that they talk about in the books, but that we don't actually go to in the books. The Stone Men were also part of that. In the books, what this is basically taking the place of is the young Griff storyline. So Tyrion is traveling with the young Griff characters on the Shy Maid down the Royne. He falls in, and Jon Connington yanks him out, just like Ser Jorah did, but in the process, contracts grayscale, just like Jorah did. So Ser Jorah is kind of taking that from Jon Connington's storyline. Huge WTF. And Tyrion craps his pants when he sees Drogon flying overhead. He also has a vision of Drogon in the books, but it's in a slightly different context. Since we don't know if Jorah and Tyrion are going to make it to Meereen unscathed, I'm not going to go too deep into his storyline from the books. I'll just wait till after next week. We'll have to see. I know that a lot of you asking, you know, what is grayscale? How does it work? Really, like your skin and your internal organs, like your soft tissues, they all just harden so that it looks like stone. So like as your internal organs start to stone over, so to speak, you slowly lose the ability to function. Your body just starts shutting down. So when they say Stone Men of Valyria, think of it as being like a really serious version of a leper colony. You can't touch anyone or you'll give it to them, so just go over here by yourselves and leave us alone. The really fun thing though about them going to the ruins of Valyria is Tyrion has an uncle, one of Tywin's brothers, that went to the ruins of Valyria looking for the ancestral blade of the Lannisters. It's called Bright Roar, and his uncle was never seen again. I was a little disappointed he didn't get a shout out in the episode, but I totally understand them not doing it. So here's my big question for you guys. What was your favorite moment from the episode? And what do you think is going to happen to Ser Jorah now that he has grayscale? Stannis explained to Shireen that he was able to halt the progress of the grayscale. It scarred Shireen's face for life, but he was able to stop it before it killed her. So Jorah isn't necessarily sentenced to death. As much as they're changing a bunch of stuff from the books, you know, you can see how there were like specific moments where they were trying to do book things, even though they did them in slightly different ways. I feel like they've done a good job so far building momentum with each episode. Each new week, things have gotten progressively crazier and crazier, until finally we're in Old Valyria, we see grayscale, and we see Drogon, who is freaking huge. You guys can let me know whether you agree. You know, do you feel like they're building momentum with each episode? Sometimes they don't always stick the landing, like, you know, there's always big moments in the finales, but sometimes non-finale episodes just come together as a whole and end up being a little bit better than actual finales. So don't forget about the book giveaway. I'll announce the winner of that tomorrow in my Q&A video. While you wait for that to post, you can click here to learn all about Lyanna Stark's history, and you can click here for last week's episode. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.